In this video, you'll learn a strategy that you can use to handle trash talk in sports. Now, when it comes to handling trash talk, I have to approach this from a mental game standpoint, which means I have to approach it thinking, how is the trash talk affecting you as the athlete? And how is it limiting you or even helping you? Now, let's start with how it might help you. Now, this is a rare instance, right? But sometimes trash talk fuels anger and frustration and actually motivates you to perform your best. But there has to be a word of caution here. You need to be very self-aware and honestly look at your game and think, when I experience trash talk and I allow it to make me mad, and I even trash talk back a little bit, do I play better? If the answer is yes, that's fantastic. You want to go with that. You want to use that. I'm working with a basketball player right now who, when the other team trash talks him, he doesn't talk trash back, and I really never kind of recommend doing any sort of trash talking because I think it's much better to let your game do the talking for you. And that's exactly what he does. People trash talk him. He doesn't really talk back, but he uses that anger as fuel, and he ends up playing a lot better moving forward. However, there's also the other side of this where that trash talk can distract you, especially if playing angry isn't really the best strategy for you. So in this case, we want to really be careful that the trash talk, A, doesn't distract you and cause you to play either reckless or play thinking too much about the other person that's talking trash to you and how much you want to prove them wrong. And also, we don't want to allow this trash talk to get to you on more of a confidence level where you start to believe the trash talk almost, right? Like very simple examples. If somebody says, you suck, you're awful, you can't guard me, and you start to think, they've been scoring on me, I can't, they're right, I suck, I can't guard them. So there are 3 different tips that I want to walk you through that I found very helpful when it comes to managing this trash talk during games. Tip number 1 is to actually deflect and disarm. This is a really great strategy if you're honestly forced to engage in them in one way or another where you're forced to talk to them. This is a strategy that I've used a lot in my personal life playing, and I've also seen it have success with other athletes that I've worked with. What it means to deflect and disarm is that you almost make a joke out of whatever the person is saying that's trash talking you. Because think about it for yourself, right? If you're trash talking an opponent, why would you be trash talking the opponent? Probably because you want to get inside their head, right? You want to throw them off their game. So right there, if you show this person that is trash talking you that it doesn't bother you, now even if it does bother you, if you show them that it doesn't bother you, they're probably not going to be trash talking as much because they realize it's really not having the impact on you that they want. The best way to deflect and disarm is you can say something a little self-deprecating where you make a joke out of it, right? Like if they say, the example I gave earlier, you can't guard me, you say, yeah, you're right, man, you've had me all night. Now, I know I said earlier that we want to make sure you don't believe the trash talk, but right here, you're not believing the trash talk. You're using that response to your advantage. You don't believe that they're getting by you all night, but you're just brushing it off like, yeah, man, you're getting by me, you're great. And you say something like that, make a joke out of it, just brush it off to where they're not left with that conflict, which is really what anybody is after when they're trash talking you. They want to get inside your head. They want to make you doubt yourself. They want to get you engaged with them because that also might be fueling their frustration and their motivation as well during the game. So tip number 1 is you want to deflect and disarm if you can. And then tip number 2 is to focus on your breathing. This one will help. Number 1, it will help with a distraction if you are finding yourself distracted by the trash talk. But it will also help calm yourself down if you are getting angry and you don't want to be angry or frustrated. So whenever you focus on your breathing, I always recommend using count breathing where you count in for either a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, or inhale for a count of 5, exhale for a count of 5. The main idea is take some deep breaths to really begin calming yourself down and relaxing so that trash talk doesn't get to you too much. And then focusing on the numbers starts to bring that attention from all the way out here, right? We're worried about the trash talking opponents. Put that attention back onto yourself in a good way. Get you a little bit more process focused at that moment. And then tip number 3 is honestly to just play your game, right? Remember what you need to be doing out there to play your game in the most effective way possible. Another example of a trash talking opponent kind of dealing with frustrations that somebody feels towards their opponent comes honestly from another basketball player that I've been working with recently who told me that he had a bad game. It was about 3 weeks ago that he had the bad game, and it was because he really didn't like the team that he was playing. They're a trash-talking team. He doesn't like them. He has a history with them. They have a history with the school, right? There's just a lot of friction there. And he honestly let this friction get to him because he went into the game thinking, I want to prove them wrong. I want to destroy them because I just don't like this team. But that wasn't the way that he played his best. He plays his best when he's relaxed. He's having more of a team-first attitude, and he plays the game as it's supposed to be played for him. By trying to destroy the other team, be really aggressive, he was focused on the other team, he was focused on how much he doesn't like them, and it just distracted him, kept him from playing his game. But when he played the team again yesterday, actually, he played so much better because he focused on playing his game, right? Moving the ball around a lot more. He plays point guard. He was getting some good shots. He missed some shots, but he was able to move on quickly. He kept himself vocal. He kept his attitude up. All that because he changed the way he was approaching the game, and specifically that trash talk and that friction that he felt with the other team. So for yourself, the truth is the best way to get back at any trash talking opponent is to beat them, right? Compete better than them. And so you have to know, how do you compete your best? Do you compete your best engaging in the trash talk? Fine. Do you compete your best by letting that get you angry and using that anger as fuel? Fine. Does that distract you? Okay, well then you need to have a different way that you respond to this trash talk. But remember, you need to make sure you are playing your game, because playing your game to the best of your abilities is the best way to counteract any sort of trash talk that you might face. Now, in addition to handling trash talk, something else that can help is honestly approaching the game in a calmer or more focused mindset. So what I've done right here is I've linked another video that goes into detail on how you can create your own pregame routine as an athlete. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I put out new videos each week on sports psychology and mental training.